I can't reach. Open it. Okay.
Yeah. No se muevan, no se muevan.
No se muevan. No se muevan.
Nadie.
Están todos rodeados.
Get more out. Ponte tus manos en tus cabezas, ¿ok? Ahorita vamos a sacar.
Disclaimer. This channel is for entertainment and educational purposes only. All third-party video clips, audio, and commentary fall under fair use as outlined in Section 107 of the Copyright Act, in accordance with applicable laws. The views and opinions expressed in this channel are those of the host and should not be taken as fact or professional advice, and do not necessarily reflect current views or affiliations.
Drivers, I tell you, you can't make this stuff up, man. I'm telling you, 2025 in trucking has been just diabolical. We had accidents, we had fatalities, we had companies closing down. I just don't know. Is it going to get any better for us out here? Add in the non-domicile CDLs and stuff like that, man. 2025 for trucking has just been crazy. Not going to only hope that 2026 will be a little bit better, but I don't know, man. I don't know. It's not even going to stop, because we got this story that I'm about to talk about, and I just found out that CRST just shut down their OTR division. CRST, like, where'd that come from? I mean, we just had 10 roads that just shut down their division because they lost the mail account. But CRST, the oldest trucking, one of the oldest trucking companies out here now, that just poof in the wind now. The bloodbath for 2025 and trucking is just going to continue to the end of the year. And in 2026, where things supposed to be better, I don't know. It's definitely not going to be better for a guy named John. It's definitely not going to be better for him. The truck driver that was just pulled over in Texas last month, and come to find out he had 23 illegals in the back of the cab. That's crazy work right there, man. 23 people in the back of the sleeper. Like, how is that comfortable for you guys, man? And imagine you're the truck driver. You're driving down the way, and you got all this distraction going on in the back, which have you to start driving all kind of erratic on the road, which, of course, gets the attention of all places, Texas, where a state trooper pulled this young man over to do a traffic stop. Let's talk about it.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
So right here is where the story begins, driver. A simple traffic stop back in November, where a DSP officer watches a white Freightliner drift and swerve all over the place. That was enough right there for the traffic stop. Now, let me just stop right there, right? Now, us truck drivers would get pulled over for anything. And in Texas, they are really looking for something to pull us over. Like what happened to me in, I want to say, Kansas. I think I was in Missouri. Yeah. I had one of my blinkers was on, and I got pulled over for a traffic stop simply because I left the blinker on. So in Texas, of all places, they going to pull you over as soon as they see something out of the ordinary. So the trooper pulled this guy over. His name is John, right? He gets pulled over. The trooper initiates the inspection. I'm going to assume he initiated an inspection. He gets in a conversation with the driver. The driver is acting all suspect right now. Like, he's asking questions about, do you have a CDL? And the driver simply said, no, I got papers, but I don't have a CDL. Officer is like, cool. How about if I go ahead and check out your truck? You mind if I get in there and look around? And the driver right off the rip, like, no, I don't consent to you searching my truck.
Could I see what you have in the vehicle? Do you give me permission?
Is it required?
It's not required. You don't have to then. I mean,
why you have to? There's no reason you should be searching the vehicle.
I mean, I'm asking your consent, but if you're gonna deny it, then that's fine. But I'm gonna stand by here just for some other units to get here, and I'm gonna run a dog around the vehicle.
And I get it. Hey, you can consent to that. But I think us truck drivers is on a different level when it comes to that, though. Right? So he is identified as 24-year-old David Amaya from Laredo. Or during the conversation, we find out that he don't have a CDL. So before the trooper can even continue with his investigation, he's still noticing that the driver is fidgeting around, making phone calls, and doing all type of suspect stuff. At one point, the trooper asked him, like, hey, bro, who you calling? This driver says, I am calling my lawyer.
In terms of the violations, you don't have a CDL and you're operating a motor vehicle. You're not supposed to be driving a commercial motor vehicle. Okay, and who are you calling right now? I'm just curious.
Just calling my lawyer.
Your lawyer?
Yeah.
You would think you would call the company like, hey, I'm getting pulled over. This is a traffic stop, blah, blah, blah. But no, bro says he's calling his lawyer. So that right there already know that this driver was told to make a phone call in case anything goes wrong. Now, was he calling his lawyer or was he calling the conglomerate? That's something to think about. But, of course, they detained this driver, and when they detained him, they brought out the dogs and everything. They get up into the tractor, open up the curtain, and lo and behold, they see 23 illegal aliens hiding inside the sleeper berth.
Hold on. I can't reach. Open it.
Yeah. Hey, no se muevan, no se muevan, no se muevan.
No se muevan.
Nadie-
Están todos rodeados.
Get more out. Ponte tus manos en tus cabezas, ¿ok?
And they're all from Nicaragua, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, and even Mexico. All of them packed in the back of the sleeper. Like, I can't even wrap my head around that right quick. Like, it's already cramped back here for me, but 22 other people back here with me? That's going to be uncomfortable. So let's just throw safety out the window right now. So, of course, this driver, John Amaya, is arrested on the spot and is charged with 23 counts of smuggling of persons. And that right there, drivers, is an automatic felony. See, under the law down there in Texas, they just signed in 2023 that smuggling of people like this carries a mandatory 10-year minimum sentence. Let me tell you, this ain't no probation for this guy. This ain't no first-time offense for this guy. Right off the rip, he's what, in his 20s, 24, 10 years? Now, I'm not sure if that's 10 years per person or 10 years for the whole thing. But in any case, bro lost 10 years of his life, right? It's not about if he's convicted. It's when he's convicted. He's not going back to Laredo. He's not even going to get back into the truck. Hell, he's not even going to see daylight for a while. And drivers, wrap your mind around this, right? Well, he had to do it for the money. It's no other reason why you would sacrifice your freedom for something like this, right? So let me just speak clearly here. This story, this type of story right here just shows the split in the industry. You got drivers out here like myself grinding, doing everything the right way, working through CDL schools, studying regulations, backing, skills, all that stuff just to come out here to feed our families and make a living. And then you got guys like this, right? Using the semi as a smuggling tool. And then when you get caught, guess who gets looked at sideways? All of us. Because the public never separates the two. We got good people out here, good truck drivers out here that's doing good things. But as you've seen in 2025 with all the crazy stuff that happens with the bad truck drivers, it just make us truck drivers look even badder. I guess that's where all the respect that people had for us at one point is just gone. This right here for John, this was desperation. Mixed in with the money, mixed in with stupidity. It had to be the money. Why else would he do that? Why else would he chance his freedom, right? Why would he do that? It had to be because of the money. The conglomerate offered this man a lot of money. Now, I'm not sure what is a lot of money in terms of how much he got or how much he would have got or if he got it already. I don't know. But there is not enough money in the world for me to sacrifice my freedom, my life, my CDL for that. I can't. Bro, I'm sorry, bro. I can't do it here. We got this X amount of money in a briefcase just looking at you. This would change your life.
We happy? Vincent? We happy?
Yeah, we happy. Look.
And bro looked at that like, yeah, this would change my life. I'm going to take penitentiary chances. And there are some of you guys that will take penitentiary chances to save a life, to change a life. And I understand it. I understand it. I've seen Squid Games. I've seen how that guy was in a predicament that he needed X amount of dollars to have his mother to go through cancer treatment. And that guy offered that card and he jumped into the game. And all that money changes things, changes people. So still, I would say it's stupidity on John's part. But still, when you're faced with a briefcase full of money, logic goes out the window. But see, the first problem is, though, drivers, is that this man did not have a CDL. Maybe he didn't have the proper training. Maybe he never learned how to drive a tractor or how a tractor is operated. Maybe he never learned safety because he got like 23 people in the back. Like, that's distractive as hell. But still, he got behind the wheel of a truck because if it's an automatic, it's easy to drive the truck. If it's an automatic, just put it in drive and boom, you're gone. If you don't have the trailer, then you could just drive the truck like a car. But the skills and the experience come into play is when you have the trailer on the back. But if you just driving the tractor, the truck, and just push drive and you good to go. Accelerate, brake, accelerate, brake. That's it. But he was distracted for some reason, and that's why he was weaving all across the highway, which caught the attention of the state trooper that pulled him over. Now, here's the second thing, drivers. Hiding humans in his sleeper. You're putting lives at risk, right? But the 23 other people were willing to take that risk to come over to the good old US of A. They all could have suffocated, right? They could have passed out from heat exhaustion, dehydration. Some of them probably might not have made it out alive, though, right? We've seen situations where they get packed like sardines in a freezer trailer. Now, I think I seen one story where a few have passed on trying to get over to the other side. But that's the risk. They say, bump it. We want a better life. Is that the reason why they taking that chance? Is the reason why John took penitentiary chances to bring them over so they can have a better life? Some of these immigrants are really getting away from a tumultuous country, though. For real, for real. But you got to do it the right way, though. You got to do it the right way. And here's the other thing about this driver. He is young, 24. Basically just handed his whole life, his whole future, his whole being gone for at least 10 years. And it's going to be more than that. I'm not sure. Again, like I said, I'm not sure if it's for each person or is it for the whole thing. But in any case, this man is going to be down and out of the picture until he's at least 35 years old. And again, the sad part of all of this, drivers, is that somebody, maybe the conglomerate, told him that it was just easy money. It was just one trip. And all he had to do was just get them across the border and get them at the destination spot where they needed to be. Unfortunately, that didn't happen.
You tossers! You had one job to do!
See, people don't realize how deep the charges go until they actually get caught. Again, when you're faced with that kind of money, you're not thinking about the consequences. You're just thinking about the money that's being made and what you can do with it. That's what it's all about right there. There are more angles out here that is affecting a lot of us on the road. And I'm about to tell you what it is, right? Now, 2025 is going to go down as the most devastating situations in trucking. And you want to know what all that is going to do going into 2026? It's going to have more checkpoints. It's going to have more inspections. It's going to have more heightened suspicions. It's going to have more policies. And it's going to be more heat on the industry that's already under the microscope. And all this feeds into the stereotypes that us truckers are out here doing crimes in trucks. Meanwhile, while the most of us regular truck drivers, the ones that's doing it right, we're just trying to stay in our own lane and we're trying to go home. But people like John and all the situations that happened this year is just making trucking look real, real bad. And I don't even know if it's going to get better in 2026. So drivers, this is the kind of thing that shouldn't even be happening in 2025. Of course, a semi-truck is not a suitcase for smuggling. A sleeper berth is not a good hiding spot, bro. Maybe he should have had the trailer. Maybe it would have been better if he had the trailer. Maybe he probably could have got away with the trailer. But the fact of the matter that you didn't have your CDL, bro, which is not an option in trucking, that was a red flag that was going to go up on the officer's radar anyway. So you knew automatically that when he found out that you didn't even have a CDL, probably didn't have an ELD, probably didn't have no paperwork at all, right off the rip that your truck was going to get searched. And even if you did have a trailer, they was going to open that up too, and they would have eventually found them. But having all of them in the back of the cab is diabolical, though. I kind of feel for the illegals that was back there. They know they didn't crawl in that truck for fun. They was promised the promised land. That's what they was promised. Again, like I said, a lot of people probably had some situations that forced them to make that power move that they was making, to come over to the good old US of A for a better life. And that's exactly what they was looking for. And I digress. Maybe they was looking for something else too, but I'm just saying, they was promised. Just like this driver. He was promised. He was promised. And it had to be the money that he was promised to get. Now, wherever they came from or wherever he came from, because now the situation is messed up for the conglomerate who sent them out there in the first place. Think about it. Think about it. See, those immigrants, those illegals, they ended up in a dangerous situation that could have took their lives. Or maybe the driver could have jumped out of the truck while the truck was still moving and ran. But I don't know. He's a young guy. He was 24 years old. So when he got pulled over, he just started talking, acting all suspecting on, and the first thing that he gets on the phone to do is to call the conglomerate. I don't even know if he was calling his lawyer, even though he said he was. But I'm thinking it's the conglomerate that he was telling him, like, hey, I got pulled over. It's not going to happen. Should I feel bad for this driver? The laws are clear. In Texas, out of all freaking states, bro, they don't play when it comes to smuggling, man. You took penitentiary chances. You rolled the dice. And you rolled the 7-Eleven, bro. You have to take the consequences as they come. Maybe the conglomerate didn't tell you about those consequences, but now over here, once you get finished doing your time and everything, they're going to send your ass right back to wherever you came from, bro. And it's not going to be Laredo. So my takeaway, drivers, listen, stories like this reminds me that trucking carries a huge responsibility. Listen, you're moving equipment that can destroy lives in a millisecond. And if you choose to use that truck for any illegal work, the consequences for you is not going to be small, bro. It's definitely going to be life-changing. So think about that before somebody sits a suitcase full of money and tells you all you got to do is do this one trip and don't tell you the consequences. It's going to be life-changing when you get caught. Think about that.
What do you think about this situation? Do you believe the 10-year mandatory minimum is fair, or should the punishment be even tougher? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe for more trucking breakdowns, reaction videos, and industry conversations. And if you've got a story, good or bad, send it to lockoutmenpodcastguest@gmail.com. See you in the next.